Like most developers, I found that artificial intelligence is a complete game changer for my development workflow. I give it a task, it starts to plan the task, and by the time I've fixed a drink, I have a perfect implementation sitting right on my desktop. But having worked with it for some time, I'm also starting to get to grips with some of the constraints that are attached to AI, and they mostly center around the context window and it keeping track of what it was initially asked to do and what it's actually done up until that point. I'm Matt Anderson from Stellify Software, and I want to talk to you a little bit about our solution to that particular problem. So before the emergence of Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, I was already going about building Stellify based upon this idea of structured code. I wanted the web development ecosystem to be less chaotic and more predictable. Now it just so happens that artificial intelligence came along and it seems to want exactly the same thing. It wants certainty, it wants structure, it wants predictability. So there are two ways in which we achieve that structure and predictability. The first thing we do is we set the stack in stone, at least the core stack. We can add capabilities to that stack, but essentially once those capabilities are added in, they're locked in. Okay, so from the point of view of artificial intelligence, it doesn't have to think about which language it's using, which libraries are available. It knows from the outset, and we know to tell it from the outset. That's the first thing. The second thing that we do is we store all code that's related to your logic that you build on top of that underlying framework. We store it all as JSON in a database. And the reason we do that is that it prevents AI from having to read entire files. It can be surgical at a granular level, okay? So it can go and change a variable or a token, a language token. It's that granular. It can be surgical about that. It doesn't have to read reams and reams of text in order to make alterations. And it can also track those changes and those references over time. Okay, so as it makes updates and changes, it will record those updates and changes. It will record the key references that it's made changes to, so that next time it revisits a task, it knows where it left off. So there's two powerful things that Stellify does from the outset to make AI more capable of remembering what it's done in the past. It stops it from hallucinating. It stops it from going off track. And the improvements don't stop there. We also have a system whereby when you prompt AI to do something, we interject and look at that prompt and we determine which instructions are sensible to pass across to AI in order to keep that context window to a minimum. And that also saves tokens, so we're reducing the cost of development through that route also. The final optimization that we would seek to make is to analyze the data that you create when you're writing applications. So we can look at your data and we can look at the way that AI agents are working with your data, and we can hopefully make further efficiency improvements through that analysis. I'd love for you to try the platform, build an application, and then come back to me and tell me what works and what doesn't work. I'm serious when I say that any feedback you give me, I will take it on board and I will shape the platform to your requirements. And remember, the more you use the platform, the better it will get for everyone. So head over to stellisoft.com, sign up. There's a generous free tier there. There's tokens to be had. See how you get on, and I hope to hear from you soon.